My name is Kuchah Kuchah, and I am one of the members of the advisory board of TELT, and my role is to look after education system reforms.
Okay, Harry, really delighted as always to see you, but
My
particularly
pleasure.
to welcome you to our new advisory board.
Oh, thank you very much. It was an honor. When Sarah wrote to me to say, Harry, we want you to join, I was like, yeah, because I think TELT is doing really great work out there, transforming education in many ways, and I thought it would be good to be part of the advisory group to support. So yeah, I'm really delighted. I'm really, really happy.
Did we choose the right area for you?
Yes.
Can you say a bit about that?
I think working within education system reforms is something I'm really happy to do because you do all the great work, you design materials, you train teachers, you advise on lots of different things, but it's important that leads to real action in the field. And I thought, yeah, that's a great place for me to be with my experience of being a policymaker myself and being able to talk to policy makers. That's somewhere I can really advise.
And I guess
tell
as a
them.
past president of IATEFL, you've got that overview of the way systems work in different parts of the world.
Yeah, I think I've been very lucky, partly from being IATEFL president, but also mostly from the research I do in different parts of the world and talking to education stakeholders. And my background as a ministry inspector fits really well within that. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to do great things and really make the impact of the work that TELT is doing in different educational contexts.
We've been having a lot of conversations over the past couple of days about the importance of the word system and what it implies.
Exactly. What a time to hear that. And that's what I love about the IATEFL conference is because people are current and we know that all the work that's being done comes to nothing if that is not embedded into the different systems around the world. You might have the best ideas on earth, but if they don't fit into the different systems, because educational systems are quite rigid in many ways, and they're clear structures, and you've got to find a way to embed whatever innovation into those. I'm happy that more and more people are talking about that. And I would say TELT has taken a lead in that direction to be able to map that out very clearly as a strategic direction that we're taking, I think. And that's why I'm glad to be part of the team.
That's really good to hear you say that because so often, however good and productive the work is, it's in one area or another. And to make that effort to bring things together.
I think it's very important.
And projects you've been involved with.
Yeah,
I wonder what
exactly.
you've been doing recently that chimes with this.
Yeah, I've been doing a couple of things. Typically, when I do research, I build impact into my research. So I start by talking to stakeholders. They help me shape the project in a way that fits into the specific needs. So I've just finished with colleagues in Uganda and India a project funded by the British Council English Language Teaching Research Award, which looked at gender beyond the textbook. So there's a lot of research that looks at gender representation in terms of numbers, in terms of the roles that different genders play in a textbook. But we have not quite invested in seeing how teachers respond to those types of text in the classroom. So we developed a project that looked at gender in the classroom beyond the textbook, following teachers to see how they were teaching those texts in the classroom and that they were countering or they were just promoting those gender discourses. But there were two interesting things and completely different in India and in Uganda. So in India, there was heavy teacher-fronted practices that meant that the teacher was just saying what they wanted to say and re-explaining the text. And students did not have any opportunity to respond. In Uganda, they were much more engaged. There were debates, for example, with boys and girls debating around gender topics. However, when the teacher intervened, they were most often promoting a gender prejudice rather than challenging it. Or they were focusing on the vocabulary item, which they wanted the students to learn, and ignoring the gender content completely. So what we've done following that is that we've now mentored 40 teachers, 18 from India and 22 from across Africa, doing projects in their classroom around specific gender texts. And these students were great in the responses in the classroom. And there were things around the mindset of boys, the mindset of men, and the girls were fantastic. And I was really lucky to visit Uganda at the point when we had collected the data. and I visited one of the schools. And those girls asked me really difficult questions.
The point that you started with about the importance of identifying impact is so vital, and it's often something that is neglected, let's say.
Yeah.
And so coming back to your advisory board role, is that idea of looking beyond the individual projects.
Yeah, exactly. Because there are lots of projects around, and there's a lot of research, there are projects, there are interventions. But if they don't fit into the existing educational system, we can't make any difference. So I think it's important, and TELT is taking a lead in that direction. It's great that we are able to look not just at the individual projects, but look at how they fit together within educational systems and how we could build those into existing systems so that they are appropriated by the communities where our work is going on.
Clearly we've got the right person for the right area of interest.
Well, yeah, I've got a lot of interest in that, but I'm also really lucky to be working with Andy. I think he's great, and together I think we would be able to advise as much as we can and to take TELT in the direction you've honored us to take the organization to.
That's great. Thank you very much, Harry.
Yeah. Okay.